Hey YouTube, this is TJ. I'm going to have to grow some people real today. Um, there, Recently there was an article that went nationwide, or actually a television broadcast that went nationwide with respect to a young woman, a young mother with her three daughters in Las Vegas who was trying to get money to pay her rent that was behind. She was a car dealer, lost her job due to the pandemic. I don't know her situation, but it yielded a result of more than $170,000. So I am on a Facebook group, the Peace Let's Talk Facebook group, that a lot of interesting conversation goes back and forth. And there was a person who highlighted the news story and said it serves as a cautionary tale. And I wrote that I'm just a little bit tired, a little bit tired of what seems to be the women bashing, the single mother bashing that's going on. I was a single mother, and I am not ashamed of that. I am not ashamed of that. I'm going to read to you what the imbecile wrote. And just so you know, I invited this individual to have a conversation with me because, yes, we women and men, but we're talking about women right now, we make poor decisions. I was one of them. I learned from it. I successfully raised my daughter. There are many mothers who successfully raise their children. And to those single mothers that are out there who are trying to get it right, who want to get it right, I'm going to share some things with you. You can get it right. You have to make some different decisions, but you can get it right. And don't you let anybody try to make you feel less than because you've had children out of wedlock. Yes, statistics show us that children who are raised in two-parent households generally turn out better. Does that mean that your children are doomed? If that is not the case, no. It means you have to try harder. That's what that means. It means you have to choose better. That's what that means. It means that if you have children out of wedlock, the priority generally should be raising them. So you can ensure who you bring around them has their best interest at heart because they have your best interest at heart. But if you keep them first because you are not married, the result will a better result will be yielded. You know, let me read this exchange because I'm just a little bit over it. What I wrote was this. I'm really over some of these women bashing generalizations. Women don't have children by themselves. Yes, women decide to get pregnant and to have the babies, baby or babies. But there seems to be an overwhelming assumption that some of these women didn't have children within a marriage, within wedlock, and later divorced or were widowed, or the fact that the men may have just left. Of course, that doesn't happen. The next argument is that she should have chosen better. She should have. Okay, we know that. But let's be clear. Some of you are not even using your own words. You're using Kevin Samuel's words. You are using O'Shea Duke Jackson's words. You are using a lot of other manosphere words. These are not your own words. These are not your original ideas. So let's be clear about that. Okay? As someone who knew him, meaning Kevin Samuels, way before He blew up. I have said before and I'll say it again. He was speaking the same type of truth years ago. However, by his own admission, he had to learn, heal, and grow into some things. And I said, who is to say that his wife and child didn't suffer just as he did? By his own admission, he had to grow to some things. So he didn't get here overnight. And the women who have children out of wedlock, yes, they made poor decisions. And there are a myriad of reasons that they did. There were a myriad of reasons that I did. So the imbecile writes, 70 to 80% of Black children are born to unwed mothers. Yes, let's argue for the exceptions. Brilliant. Okay, I guess that was his attempt to be condescending. And so I wrote, we all know the statistics. I was an unwed mother. It's not what I wanted or planned for myself, but I wasn't ashamed either. I don't do ignorance for others who want to appear more intelligent. Try again. Okay? If you want to have a real conversation as in real life, like, eyeball to eyeball, whatever, I'm old school. I don't, I'm game for it. Then he writes, but I wasn't ashamed either. You're damn right I wasn't. And you say it with pride. You're damn right I do. That's the problem. You should have been ashamed. No. I made a poor choice. I became pregnant. My daughter, my child, was my gift. So no, I was not ashamed. Then he says, question, how does one have sex and then still have the audacity to say it, meaning pregnancy, is not what I planned? Do you have any idea how utterly foolish and irresponsible that sounds? I was irresponsible. And I've said that on some videos as well. But you weren't ashamed though? No. No. I'm not ashamed. Typical. I'm not sure what you mean by real life conversation, so apparently that must be a millennial, because anybody in my age group will probably know what real life means. Okay. That is a very bizarre comment to make. Tell you what though, have your husband make me that offer instead of overstepping boundaries and offering up a man you do not know. Now that's hilarious. You put the information out there, Buster. So yeah, I'm going to respond to it. You didn't say men only respond. And let's be clear. My husband would have no time for you. Okay? Sad to be reminded to respect your husband, your marriage, and your GD self. Let's be clear. I respect my husband and my marriage to the utmost. Are you married? I really don't care, so I don't even see why I asked. But here's the thing. I am tired of this narrative. We know the statistics. Mothers, single mothers, if you want better, you must do better. I was one of them. But I've said once before, my daughter was the best thing that happened to me, because it forced me to grow up. And to all you men out there who continue to lay down, and then you will say, well, she chose to get pregnant. Let me give you a little piece of it. You can decide not to impregnate somebody too. Our daughter, meaning my daughter, my ex-husband and my daughter, she's 27. She is both of our only child. She's my only child. She's her father's only child. So can you, and he's been in relationships, as have I. I made the decision that I was not going to have any more children out of wedlock. And apparently he did too. Because you know what? He hasn't fathered any more children either. Okay? So I don't want to sit here and listen to this ignorance because it's something that you bought into. We all know, yes, many women, myself included, should have chosen better. But I will not, and you single mothers do not be ashamed of my being a mother, a single mother. Because you know why? My daughter, my child, was a gift from God. Yes, I got pregnant out of wedlock. What I didn't do was to continue on having sex with her father while I was pregnant, because we were not married while I was pregnant. And I did not want whatever sin I had already done, I didn't want to continue on doing it that could have affected my child. My child gave me the motivation to do things that I probably wouldn't have considered otherwise. Probably would not have considered going on active duty otherwise, but I wanted better for my daughter. So, single mothers, you notice I didn't say baby mama. To me, there's a difference. Baby mama for me implies ignorance and don't want to do better. Single mother signifies to me, yes, whether it be a child out of wedlock, whether it be from divorce, whether it be from widow, you find yourself in this situation as a single mother. Decide. You can do better. You can decide not to continue on having children out of wedlock, like I did. You can decide, if you are pregnant out of wedlock, that you don't want to continue on having sex out of wedlock, but you want this guy to marry you. And if he's not going to marry you, then you can decide not to continue on having sex with that person. Like I did. But don't you let someone shame you. You know, take accountability. Do better. Do better. Why? Because your children are paying attention. My daughter was paying attention. I'm not saying I did everything right, because I didn't. But she paid enough attention to the things I did well and the things I didn't do well to decide that, one, she didn't want to go into the military. Two, she was not going to have a child out of wedlock, because she saw, even though she had a very blessed, fortunate life, she did sacrifice some things because her parents weren't together. Her mother traveled around. Well, we moved around being in the military. She decided that she wanted something different. But also, if she would have seen me having multiple children by multiple men, that would have taught her something too. But if that is the case, that is your case. It does not mean that your life is over. It doesn't mean that your children's lives are doomed. But you must own it. Own it. I owned it. I'm not ashamed of it. That's all I have to say about that. You've been growed real.